There you are, sweetheart. Hi, I'm Taylor Smurl, and this is a new series of videos I'm doing that combine cosplay, hello, and cocktails. Cosplay, cocktails, we're just gonna call it cosplay and cocktails, where I take characters that I love and I make drinks in homage to them, hopefully exemplifying my personal style of bartending. You know, in the other podcast video that I do, we do a lot of classic cocktails, and I love that, but I rarely get to show off how I do drinks. And I guess my style's a little kitschy, it's a little whimsical, it's a little goofy, but it's fun, and I would love to share that with all of you, along with some cosplay and some nerdy facts about movies and video games and comic books that I love. So that's what we're gonna do. Obviously, maybe not obviously, I don't know. First one up is gonna be Howl's Moving Castle. Howl's Moving Castle is a Studio Ghibli release from 2004. It's directed by Miyazaki. It's based on actually a 1986 novel by British author Diana Wynne Jones. Some differences in the story. I haven't read the books, just putting that out there. I'm a just big fan of the movie, and I specifically love Howl, the main character. Brief synopsis. There's a girl named Sophie who works too hard and needs to learn how to lighten up, and she runs into a wizard, and hilarity and romance ensue. And then there's also a little castle with like little chicken legs, and Billy Crystal's a little fireman. That sounds right. Okay. I'm not doing it justice. It's a beautiful movie. It's about love and has a lot of good themes. Has a very strong, actually, anti-war theme. Little behind-the-scenes info. So it was released in 2004. Miyazaki was very angry at the Iraq War taking place, and so he put a lot of themes into this movie that aren't necessarily in the novel, specifically condemning the world politics at the time. And he even said, like, this won't do well in America because it's very anti-war. So hey, other Americans, this was a message for us. Yeah. There's no good war. You just fight endlessly until you turn into a tar-covered bird monster. All that being said, let's get into a cocktail. All right. So, for the drink, and actually for every drink in this series, I'm not just gonna do something familiar. I'm gonna do something that brings in either an ingredient or a trick or a concept that I really love and embrace in my personal style of bartending. So today we're gonna start with something that I think is very much a buzzword in the industry right now, and that is butterfly pea blossom, or butterfly pea flower, sometimes called Asian pigeon wing. It's got a lot of names. Clitoria ternacea if you're nasty, or if you're scientific, that's a scientific name. It's basically a flower that has a high concentration of like a deep blue dye, and when you infuse this into a cocktail or a beverage, in the presence of acid, it will start to have a color change effect. That's kind of why everybody's in love with this right now. It will start off a deep indigo, and as you add more acid to it, it will end up like a light pink color, depending on how much you add. Now this is, the same reason why, like, if you plant petunias in different soil, you get different color. Lots of flowers have this, and it's based on the acidity of the soil content, how they'll blossom. These are actually highly reliable pH indicators. So butterfly pea blossom has been used for like centuries in Southeast Asia. It's only now kind of having this moment in cuisine around the States, but it's been known as this cool color changing tea for a long time. Flavor wise, as far as infusions go, it's actually very lightly flavored. One thing with floral elements that you run into is they can tend to overtake a drink. Like say with hibiscus or rose, beautiful flavors in a cocktail, but you can't really heavily infuse them without risking having your cocktail taste like you're chugging perfume. That's your thing, but it's not my thing. So it's a pretty backseat flavor in your cocktail. If anything, I think it has a little bit of a woody, kind of slight floral, almost a little bit like a warm vanilla tone to it, but it is minimal. You can infuse a lot of this into a spirit of your choice and you will not have a perceivable flavor difference. Its number one use in cocktails right now is just for its beautiful color changing effects. I'm dressed as a wizard, let's do some magic. Alright, I have already pre-infused my base spirit with the butterfly pea blossom. As you can see, it is super dark indigo right now. So what I have infused here is this Bombay Sapphire East. This is one of my favorite gins. It's classic Bombay Sapphire, but it has the addition of Vietnamese black peppercorn and also lemongrass. So it's a little spicy, it's a little bit more herbal. I think it's gonna work really well in our drink today. Now, of course, the bottle is blue, the liquid itself is clear, but I have just infused the heck out of it with butterfly pea blossom. Now, I should say, my concept for this drink is, you know, this is a romantic movie, among other things, but it's very much about the relationship between Hal and Sophie. So I wanted to have my Howl element, my sparkly, magical, high-proof, spicy gin, and then I wanted to have my Sophie element. Now, what is this? This is a shrub. So this shrub, which if you've listened to my other podcast, Neath the Boozecast, you might know what this is. A shrub is just a combination of a sweetener, a vinegar, and some sort of fruit or vegetable matter in solution. So this shrub happens to be composed of rice wine vinegar, honey, and yuzu, with an infusion of English breakfast tea. So we've got all the punch and the spice here for our Howl element, and we've got all the sweet and sour structure over here in our Sophie element. Now kiss! Mwah! Nobody saw me do that. And we'll be marrying these together with some champagne. By champagne, I mean this is Prosecco, but hey, I do magic. Woo, it's champagne now. Yeah, save the cost. No, but honestly, usually I don't recommend making cocktails with champagne. If you have the budget for champagne, just drink champagne. Don't mix it in drinks. So the thing with the butterfly pea blossom in cocktails that kind of annoys me is that because it is acid reactive, you have to find a way to add your acid into your infusion to get the color change a la minute. And you know, one of the key goals of adding acids to cocktails is to emulsify them, aerate them, shake them basically. So just having a cocktail and dumping your lemon juice on the top of it to get the color change isn't like the effect is good, but the taste isn't good, because then you just have flat lemon juice like hitting the top of your cocktail. So that's why I like the solution of using a shrub as the acid source, because not only do you get the added benefit of a secondary acid, because in here I've got both yuzu juice and rice wine vinegar, which is also acidic, but because this is already set and mellowed out, it's just sort of a bit of a different element. It's not going to be like flat lemon juice going in on top of my drink. So we're going to build this drink in a flute, if you got one. And what we're going to do is just start with our infused gin. All right. Ounce of gin. And then we're going to go ahead and actually top it with our Prosecco, because we want to save the color change magic for the last step. So one fun fact about Howl's Moving Castle is actually the debut of the Batman growl. The voice of Howl in the dub is Christian Bale, and you know he does a pretty good job. I think it's a good dub. It's a great dub. But when he gets angry, when he starts to turn into a angry bird man, he gets the Batman growl, and it's before Batman ever happened. So he was, I guess, testing it on the audience. It worked all right. So there we go. And if you're judging me for having reference points to the dub, look, like, I was a teenage anime fan that argued for sub superiority back in the day. Now I'm like an adult who sometimes needs to, like, I don't know, respond to emails while I watch anime. And so I like a dub on in the background, okay? I like a sub when I've got time. I like a dub when I'm busy. I can go both ways. Time and place. But it's an excellent dub. So, you know. And you get weird early Batman. That's cool. Hot boy middle of the forehead bangs. I hate you. All right. So one thing to note with when we're talking about acid levels, and once again, I don't think it's going to show up. These ring lights, they make me look shiny and gorgeous, and then they wash out any color variants in my cocktails. But it's already started to go from deep indigo to purple. And that's because white wine and, of course, Prosecco have acids in them. So you can do these you can put these into like a wine spritzer or something, and you'll already get like a nice cocktail variance because there is a subtle acidity to most wines. But we're going to blow it out of the water with our Sophie here. I'm just calling this my Sophie shrub. All right, I'm going to do an ounce of this. Woo! Bit more. I think this is the best I can do to show you the color variance, but as you can see, it has gone from deep indigo to it is now purple cast. Yep. For our garnish for this drink, we're gonna use another one of my favorite little techniques, which is so if you make bento boxes at home, you've probably seen these little bento cutters. I love these for cutting garnishes. They're so cute. They just are so fun, and I use them on peels. So I have a little lemon peel here that I cut in the shape of a heart, a heavy burden. And I've got a little sprig of thyme just to give us a little flourish there because, you know, there was time travel in this movie. I was gonna like try to make like Hal just needed time travel. Hal needed time travel to get his heart back. Spoiler? There we go. So here is our Howl's Moving Castle inspired magical color changing sparkly but structured drink in honor of the beautiful romance found between Hal and Sophie and Howl's Moving Castle. I have to name it before I drink it. All right, so we're gonna call this drink. You know, I wish, and I don't. If this drink had bourbon in it, it would be so cute to call it a Heart's a Heavy Bourbon, but it doesn't have bourbon in it because I picked gin. I'm glad I said that, though, so you could know that I made a wrong choice in life. As if there was a question. Hi, we're going to call this There You Are, Sweetheart, which are the first words that Howl says to Sophie, which is actually the start of a beautiful line there. You think, at the beginning of the movie, you think he's rescuing her from just these random dudes and that he's just, like, you know, putting on a lie. And it turns out it's because he was searching for her all this time. It's a really beautiful moment in the film. Right off the bat. So here is our There You Are, Sweetheart, and let's try it. Oh, that's nice. You know, you get a lot of nice tannins from the English breakfast. I think that the shrub, the like yuzu, it almost acts as like, you know, with Earl Grey you have bergamot, which is a citrus. That pairs really well with like a black tea, but here you've got the yuzu being your sort of citrusy element with the black tea, and they go together really well. The gin's bringing us that little bit of spice. I do actually think you get a little bit of a floral quality from that butterfly pea blossom, and it's pretty. I'd rather die than not be beautiful, or something like that. I just wanted a drink that matched my cape. It's very important that he wears this cape over his shoulders, because if you put it on like in the arms, it looks very silly. Ooh, the magic man! Woo! So if you have not seen Howl's Moving Castle. I urge you to check it out. If you've not tried playing around with Butterfly Pea Blossom, I urge you to check that out. It's super fun. It's a fun home science experiment. It's a little magic. You don't have to infuse it into alcohol. You can infuse it into lemonade. You can infuse it into water. Like I said, pretty tasteless, just fun color, and pretty readily available. I will say there's also a powder that's out there, and the powder is good for, like, I guess baking, but it's almost too strong for drink making. It's so concentrated dye. I played around with it possibly for this video, and I just ended up with like a blue tongue for like a day. So, not my thing. Hopefully you enjoyed this. You learned something about one of my favorite anime movies, and maybe how to make a nice drink that'll go along with it. If you did like this, let me know. If there are other cosplays or shows or comic books or whatever that you think I should cover, let me know in the comments. Thank you for coming along on this initial episode of Cosplay and Cocktails with me, Howl, but also Taylor. I can't do the Batman voice. I don't really know why it's like, Batman. Some Batman hockey pants. Don't wear hockey pants. I don't wear hockey pants. Batman. I think that was bad.